Now, many people have been raising concerns about the slow pace of the rollout of phase 2 of the COVID-19 vaccine, which opened last week. The registration of over 60s has been disappointingly low. So far, just over 1.6 million people out of an estimated 5.4 million over 60s have registered for the COVID-19 shots. Let's discuss this now with the country's vaccine strategy, or the country's vaccine strategy rather, with Marcus Lowe, an editor at Spotlight. So, Marcus, let's talk about your assessment of the past week and a half. A total of 1% or so of the population vaccinated.
Yeah, Shahan, thanks for the opportunity. Just a bit of background maybe. I think we need to appreciate that we are heading into a third wave. Infections have been going up in recent weeks. We can be pretty certain that in the coming month or two, many people in this country will contract COVID-19 and many people will die. So we're really in a race against the clock on this. We need to vaccinate as many people as quickly as possible. So the stakes are really high. Now, that said, I don't want to be too critical about government at this point. We're just over a week into the rollout proper, and we've seen around 200,000 people getting their first dose. Now, I think that's a decent start for a first week. We knew there were going to be teething problems. It's a massive project. We haven't done something at this scale in this country before, that we had to do at this quickly and at this scale. So I think to some extent we can cut government a little bit of slack. But I think going forward, the public should expect that the daily rate of infection should increase rapidly, and that as problems emerge with the registration system, etc., hopefully government will be flexible and get that kind of thing sorted out quickly. And I think that's the best that we can hope for, and we should hold government accountable on that.
So you're also questioning whether the EVDS registration system is actually necessary, and we've seen so many glitches with it already. What's the answer then to, or solution to this? What do you reckon?
Yeah, so I don't think the EVDS system comes from a bad place. I think there's a legitimate concern about, or an understandable concern rather, that there will be too many people and there will be a stampede at vaccination sites, etc. I think the stats you gave earlier is the critical point there, that the way EVDS works, it really benefits people who have internet access, people who have more education, etc. We've seen very low uptake registration rates on that. So that's a big concern. And if that turns out to be something that acts as a bottleneck in the rollout, then we have to adapt. Now, I think some of the positive news is that we're hearing from various provinces is that in some areas, sites are taking walk-ins. They're allowing people over 60 just to come in and get vaccinated. I think that kind of flexibility is important. And to the broader question, I think it is important to prioritize vulnerable people at this stage, but we can do that in different ways. We can have a special queue for older people at a facility, and only once all the over 60s have been vaccinated, then people in the other queue get vaccinated. Right now, the registration on the EVDS system takes up time. At the vaccination sites, checking that people are legit, etc., takes up time. And in an ideal world, we'll do all those things. But right now, like I said, we're in a crisis where we need to vaccinate as many people every day as we can. It's a life or death situation. So if relaxing those rules means we get more people vaccinated, then that can save lives, and hopefully government will continue to be flexible in that regard.
So I have to ask you one last question before we wrap, and this is what I found interesting in this piece. You say that we must prioritize people over 60 and those with comorbidities, but that also doesn't mean that they exclusively should be vaccinated at the moment. Just tell us why you think so and what you think should happen.
Yeah, so, like I said, the critical thing at this point is to use all the vaccines we have as quickly as possible. So when a site has X number of vaccines on a day, they schedule a certain number of people over 60 to come that day. If some vaccines are left at the end of the day, we can't afford to waste those. So, whoever you can give those vaccines to at that point, you should give it to them. So the bottom line, I think the point we're trying to make is that fixating too much on who gets what at what time and who's eligible, some of that's important, but that cannot stand in the way of us vaccinating more people more quickly, because that is the critical thing at this stage.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Marcus Lowe, editor at Spotlight.